Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7 in Bethel Park, Verizon 32, everywhere in the Pittsburgh area. Russ, if you're taping this show, we have friends and family and everybody who's watching in Cranberry. So let me know if in Shaler they can watch it or wherever you're at. I know you taped it last Friday and it didn't show up, but we really are on Verizon 32. A good friend of mine messaged me, so I just wanted to put that out there. Thanks again for all the likes on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. We're over 3,200. We appreciate that in a little over a year. Thanks for all that. And we got a great show, great sports. It's Steeler training camp, as you know. It actually feels like a fall day here in Pittsburgh for any of you that are out of state and across the world watching us. It's in the 60s here. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Chip, the Prophet Hayner. Zach, Little Z Brenner. And Smoking Jim Frazier on the end. For some reason, they shuffled the card in the sandbox. For all you regulars, Chief, hold that dessert. Don't drop it right now. I know it's a shock, but they changed seats because one thought the other would be later and one come in before the other one. You figure it out, and we're going to do what's on our mind right now. Zach, no, Smoking Jim, Frazier, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine.
What?
Whoa, no fumble action. Hey, just want a couple things on my mind. First of all, my heart and prayers go out to Jason Bergman and his family, the Ironman, the NABA heavyweight champ, former. And I tell you what, only thing square in boxing is the ring, and Jason prepared to fight a totally different opponent, and they brought a guy in that was undefeated, and it was like playing Russian roulette, no pun intended.
I consider it a pun, my friend.
Yeah,
Uzbekistan.
But I think if he could have prepared for this particular opponent, the results would have been a little bit differently. But hey, this is just it. Peyton Manning's a great leader, you know. Emmanuel Sanders is taking a lot of heat because he says Peyton Manning's a better leader than Ben Roethlisberger. Peyton Manning is a better leader than anybody that ever played in the National Football League, with the exception of Ray Lewis. Peyton Manning and Ray Lewis, in my opinion, could do like Jason Kidd and just step off the football field right into a head coaching job. And lastly, another day, another phony James. LeBron James is changing his number back to 23. This is a guy who said that nobody in the NBA should wear 23 because of Michael Jordan. So he changed his number to number 6. But now King James, who has proven again that money in business is a higher priority to him than winning, is changing his number back to 23. And I think LeBron James should own a Waffle House the way he flip-flops.
Wow. Smoking Jim, that was one of your most unusual
But for the record,
openings.
how many things was that? Because now it's my turn.
Hold it, wait a second. I have to say one thing. Omaha. Omaha. Omaha.
Hey, there was bets in Las Vegas
Omaha.
on how many times that man was going to say Omaha in one game.
Omaha.
Holy smokes.
Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well, good night.
Give us
folks.
6 things,
I'd like
please.
to
6.
thank everybody out there for tuning in and watching such a quality program such as Pittsburgh Sportsline. I do have to disagree, as always, with my distinguished colleague, Smoking Jim Frazier. And as always, man, the proof is always in the pudding. And what happened down in the Meadows was no secret, no matter who the opponent was. Whenever you start fighting better fighters and start taking on some true challenges in life, that's when you face true adversity, and we separate the men from the boys. But I didn't tell you folks that, wink, wink. But what's on my mind is we touched a little bit on Ben Roethlisberger in training camp here. He was wearing a 99 jersey, trying to drum up some support for ex-Steeler Brett Kiesel, who's an ex-Steeler for a reason, and part of the reason being that he wasn't producing on the field. So, Ben, you could wear his jersey all you want. He could come back and coach the young guys or something like that, like Charlie Batch kind of did, and be somewhat, serviceable. Because Charlie Batch was truly serviceable as a backup in Pittsburgh. Let us not forget. Anytime Chuck stepped in, he came up big. I want to give a shout out to Cam Hayward, whom I had the pleasure of talking to down at the waterfront today. A true class act. He's looking lean, mean, and ready for training camp. I'm surprised he was even back in the city from Latrobe, but I guess they get a day off with this new CBA where they get to, leave camp or whatever. That would have never happened back in the day. But you didn't hear that from me either. Wink, wink. Since Al Levine's confused over there, we'll just keep going.
I thought he's talking out of the Zach Brenner voice box. I'm confused there. Who's sitting in his chair? There's so many winks and different voices. I can't keep up with anything.
And back to the final thing. I'll give you 3.
Is this really on your mind?
I'll give you half of Jim Frazier's expertise here. But just to wrap it up and finish it up, I just want to finish it up like this. Part of the reason why the Steelers are in the position they were in is by keeping players too long, such as Brett Keisel, and showing favoritism to guys that were beyond their prime and washed up. So, Big Ben, you got 2 more years left on your contract. Wink, wink. You keep playing hard, my friend. Hopefully we give you a better offensive line. I predict we're going to be 10-6, and that's what's on my mind, folks.
Great job.
Hey, Zach, that was one of the best. Wink, wink. Hold it. I got a better one. Wink. I can wink out of both eyes. And I don't know who he was, but that was really a great performance. I can't wait to revisit all of those 18 subjects that you guys had. Omaha. Chip the Prophet Hainer. I can't wait for you to give me a couple things.
I'll stick with 2 real quick. Can I see that pen real quick?
So we're going down.
Oh, wait a minute. I dropped it. Maybe the person that drops more passes than he caught should not criticize his former player. So that's my little shout out.
Great opening.
But what's on my mind? I had was trumpeting the cause of Ray Rice being suspended because of his domestic abuse. Okay, and the NFL once again completely shot itself in the foot because you know that the NFL has a 0 tolerance for domestic abuse. 0 tolerance.
Can Zach wink on that?
So wait, okay.
Wink,
so
wink.
now that we've got a 0 tolerance, the Lord God himself, Roger Goodell, came down and swung the hammer of justice, and he swung and missed. It looked like Pedro Alvarez chasing a ball in the dirt.
No, throwing it. No, throwing the ball. It looked like he threw the ball.
I'm going to tell you something. We're joking about this now, but this whole issue concerning the domestic violence and Ray Rice beating the snot out of his now wife, dragging her unconscious body out of an elevator, all on videotape, okay? So they suspend him for 2 games, and I have never heard of a bigger farce or bigger joke in my life. And the thing that bothers me the most about this whole issue is that violence against women is unacceptable, period. Under any circumstances, it's unacceptable. But here, we just kind of fluff over it, and then you get the head coach of the Ravens who said, it's not a big deal. You make a mistake, you take your punishment, and you move on. It's not a big deal. Beating up women is not a big deal. Oh, the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens says that. Then you go to training camp last night. They have a nighttime practice, and what do the Baltimore Ravens fans do? They give Ray Rice a standing ovation.
Really?
Because, oh, yes, they did when he came onto the field. So this is the kind of class people that go to Baltimore and root for their team. And then the thing that got me the most was some meathead who I will remain nameless, but there's an ESPN reporter, gets on national television and says that what needs to happen here is women have to learn not to provoke men into doing this kind of thing to them. So the victims of the crime are now the ones that are at fault for getting beat up. And how this guy has a job. And the funny thing is that the NFL is going to continue to make billions of dollars. There's not going to be any repercussions. There's not going to be any more punishment taken against Ray Rice. And Roger Goodell didn't even have the balls to get in front of a camera and explain his decision. He sent some nameless, faceless person who I can't even, Abdullah something or another, to go out and do his dirty work for him. And it's just sickening. They say 45% of the fans that watch the NFL are women. Well, if that's the case, women, you should start banning anything that has to do with the NFL. Hit them in the pocketbooks. Maybe they'll learn something. But I just think this is the biggest travesty of justice ever.
2 games is probably 6 figures in game checks.
$750,000 plus.
That's a lot of money. That's more than the
Not
average
when you're
man's
making
salary.
millions
When he made $25 million in the last 2 years,
How
that's
much
changed.
tip would the average man make if he socked the same woman in the elevator and dragged her out? The fine would be like $10,000 or something.
And here's a simpler thing. I'll cut to the chase. We're not revisiting yet, but this is one of my pet peeves with domestic violence against men or women. It shouldn't be. Against children, animals, anything else, put them all in there. The problem we have, you or I or any of us sitting here, if you did that same thing and it was on tape and you dragged your girlfriend, fiance out of the elevator, they'd be click, click, you'd be shuffling away. And I still wouldn't see either one of any of you.
Sure.
That's the difference. So it's not just about the money. You would have been gone, you'd have been incarcerated, put in a box, and that'd be it.
Well, you got.
So, I mean, those are the facts. We can kid about it. You can have opinions, but my opinion is no domestic violence.
John Harbaugh, and I never had any amount of respect for him. He says this is a lesson that you can teach to children. I want to know what the lesson we're teaching to children is that you can beat up a woman and say I'm sorry and walk away and it's okay.
Hold on a second. Let me ask you this, Chip. So you're more worried about Ray Rice playing on the football field than you are about him being criminally charged, because if any of us, like Levine said, did the same thing, we might still be in a cage right now. So why are you so worried about him getting suspended from the football games? Let's focus more on the celebrity status that got him away from criminal charges.
Absolutely.
You know, forget the
whole
football.
the whole thing stinks. From the head to the tail, it stinks.
He's already come out against domestic violence against women. So he's been saying that. His point was criminal action should have been taken, let alone Goodell, or Goddell as he wants to call him, made his ruling for whatever reason. Enough of this. We got a lot of other good stuff, and it's a shame things like that happen.
Lots of good stuff.
Hey, one of the things I wanted to mention, Smoking Jim tried to steal my first thing. I want to thank Crown Boxing, Frank Luca, and all his people there that got us into it. Even Jimmy Savetic, I heard he had an assist with getting us in as the ring announcers, and it was our debut on Fox 53. So I want to thank the cameramen at Fox 53, Greg and Dan. They let me work on the soundboard. They were afraid when I told them about Smoking Jim. His reputation precedes him. Anybody that knows, he has a lot of volume there. Luckily, I was there early, beat the storms, and my partner come there. I want to shout out to our new friend, Chris Muller. We call him the Mule now, from 93.7 The Fan. Very nice partner with us. He fit right in actually perfectly with putting up with us, and he ended up calling us Smoking Jim and the Talking Machine, so we had a lot of fun there. This will be seen. This isn't going to be hidden. This won't be one of Smoking Jim's. The fight is coming up. Coming attraction. Sorry to beat up my friend here, but he put on one of the greatest calls, a couple of the greatest calls during these co-championship boxing matches. There were 3 titles. I had to keep arguing with him on air. There was one, he said. I go, no, there's 3. You got to see that. It's at midnight on Saturday night on Fox 53 from midnight till 1. So it'll be on there. We want to thank the Meadows Casino. Check it out. Meadows Casino was great. Great host. Shout out to Kevin, Bill, all the guys that were around, the photographers, Terry. Met another photographer. You'll see me liking all his stuff on Pittsburgh Sportsline, Chris Gooden Photos with the Meadows. He takes a lot of racing photos. Shout out to Dave Pallone. Saw him afterwards at the after party. Smoking Jim, they kept saying, everybody goes, where's your partner here? I go, who? Batman. They go, no, Smoking Jim Frazier. I said, that's Batman. He was gone. The food was good. We had all kind of food. They had chocolate there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
you like a little chocolate there.
Really?
Yeah. There were models. They all come there. Matter of fact, we're negotiating right now on one of your best friends who's a model, Sindel, or
She just texted me.
she has a choice, the 11th, 18th, or 25th. We have an opening on SIPS. She goes, when can I be on the show? Because she goes, I'd like to be. Fit it in your schedule?
Yeah.
So we're working on that. and it was a great night. We also, there's some history. Smoking Jim's always scooping me on models. Now, this is the first lady ring announcer in the USA. Can you get a close-up of one?
Wow.
This is Amy Hayes, and she's a very professional ring announcer.
Yes, she is.
First class all the way. There's even a Playboy photo of her at the Playboy Mansion, she said. So, and that's to the talking machine there, Smoking Jim. These are the only photos I get to see. Last night, he got 2 photos from Stephanie Perry.
Yay!
I got to touch him only after I fought him for it for 3 seconds because I said he's going to get to keep those. And that's not what's on my mind. We have the Pittsburgh. You guys are always 3, 6, 9.
Please don't go with the power.
Hold it. I was going to. I'll save that for later under
right,
football.
please.
Now, we're supposed to do the Pittsburgh games out at Pittsburgh Mills, and that's with our friend Bob LaFawn doing these 5K Camo Trail Run Challenges out by the Pittsburgh Mills, Agin Park in Springdale, just off exit 12A, Route 28. We'll be there about 9:30 when it starts. They're going to have breakfast and all kind of things like that.
Jim
And
Frazier's going to be there?
they're even donating money to the Homeless Children's Education Fund. I chose not to tell them about it. It was sort of like traveling to Ohio. And since we're just talking here, this will be a great event. We're going to film interviews and the winners. They're hoping to do more of these events to also fund the Homeless Children's Education Fund. Justin Hartwig will be there. Sheldon Ingram will be the MC. So it'll be a lot of fun there.
One more. What's the day on that?
That is this week on the 2nd, August 2nd. So Devin and
go
I are
get
going to
that
try to
one.
make a road trip to do it. He took me out to the unicycle tournament, and that was our biggest one with hits and everything. So maybe this will help pump up, get a couple hundred hits there.
Hey, why not?
So we're going to try that. And that I have more on my mind because we got a lot of activities.
Keep going,
Let's
Godfather.
go with revisitation. Since you put such controversial stuff out there on revisitation and Steeler days off, let's get to it. I'll go on the Steeler days off. When you have 2 parties, a union and a company, and they negotiate, it's part of a collaboration that they are one side, they're polarized the other side. Like the NFL is actually trying to cut down concussions. Wink, wink. Double wink, wink. They want 16 games, regular season games. Now, I think that would cut concussions. The players don't want that. They need time off so they can rest their weary souls and not get head injuries. So every Tuesday, and I can't believe you forgot, they don't practice at all anymore.
I mean, I thought they wanted 18 games. You said 16. We already played
I
16.
know, I'm sorry. I
All right.
was wound
You know,
up.
and-
I stand corrected. They want 20 games.
You know,
18 was a compromise.
Training camp used to be 6-7 weeks long, and they used to go in the middle of July. They'd have training camp till the end of August. And now they have 3 weeks of training camp, and 2 days in, they get a day off. I just think it's kind of ridiculous.
That's a
And you
great
can
union.
leave training
Yeah.
camp to come see
You know,
Zach.
I just think it's ridiculous. And now,
At the waterfront.
now, you know what we're going to see? The same thing we saw last year in the first few weeks of the regular season. Because everybody's going to be protecting themselves and not getting themselves into game condition. Because in football, you have to condition yourself to hit and to be hit.
Blocking and tackling.
Jim will attest to that. So the first few weeks of the season, we're going to see a bunch of season-ending injuries to a bunch of high-profile players because they're not going to be in football shape.
Those are all good points, no doubt about it.
Matter of fact, Andre Johnson from the Houston Texans
Pulled a hamstring.
already pulled a hamstring, and he was holding out there for a while because he thought the Houston wasn't.
I'm glad you brought that up. I noticed that there's a number of players on the Steelers who have started out into camp, and
Le'Veon Bell.
Mike Mitchell, Le'Veon Bell with a hamstring, Mike Mitchell with a groin, Martavius Bryant, who's a rookie, who's trying to make the team. They've all go. Now, I was always under the assumption that hamstring and groin injuries are a product of not coming into camp in shape. I mean, how do they not come into shape? They spend all the time working in the weight room and they don't work on their legs.
Did
Well, I
they
think-
pass the conditioning test?
Well, I think Le'Veon
Yes.
Bell. I think Le'Veon.
That's where they got themselves hurt.
Well, I think Le'Veon Bell, when he seen the backers on back drill, all of a sudden his
Shazier.
hammy got tight. Yeah, his hammy got a little tight.
Shazier, or whatever they call it. Shazier.
I think after them runs he had last year, I think he earned the right to skip that little drill. Wink, wink. But he's a class act.
Let me give
I
one
got
back
to meet
at
Levy
you.
and Livy and Bell when I did the Pittsburgh Police Pals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sometimes I don't get the benefit of having the dynamic duo by my side. Wink, wink. I get stuck having to
is
wink
this?
things
Wink,
and do
wink.
it by myself, like I did at Cal U for the Vulcans, smoking Jim Frazier's alma mater, where he didn't even know where he was out in Cal U territory, which is the #1 watched program on Cal U TV. Is me with a college kid that never been in a fight in his life broadcasting boxing. So that's kind of.
And it's actually the only show they have on their
But you
TV.
know, the thing that I'd like to comment too is that Le'Veon Bell taking off the backs on Backers Show. Hey, this is guys that played on an 8-8 team last year. I
Thank
think
you.
they got
Thank you.
a
Somebody
lot to
finally
prove.
said it.
They can't be skating through the
They're
drills.
walking around like they won the Super Bowl the last 5 years in a row.
They ended up the season 6-2. They ended well, but at the end of the day, they didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Well,
Again.
they think if a certain guy would have ran down the sideline, they would have made the playoffs. So in their minds, they believe they're in the
Well, maybe if
playoffs.
Emmanuel Sanders would have caught a pass or two more, they would have had a chance to make
Hold
the
it. Where is he
playoffs.
now?
What's Peyton Manning going to do when he starts dropping everything that's thrown his way?
He's going to hit it in his
Isn't gonna be
helmet,
too good of a
and it'll
leader then.
stick.
It'll stick.
He'll stick it on a short pass that he won't catch because he got alligator arms. It'll hit him right in the helmet.
Alligator arms got me bopped in the head with a piece of wood the other day.
Emmanuel Sanders is proven just the way Ryan Clark is. These are people that you just can't put a microphone anywhere near.
Yeah.
No, it's
I
true.
agree.
And they're going for attention, and maybe they're working on
And who is
ESPN
Emmanuel
jobs.
Sanders for somebody to put a microphone in front of? My God, let's go put a microphone in front of
You
Ross
know,
Ventrone.
Here's the funniest part of it. He's got all this in-depth knowledge about Peyton Manning and how and all he does. He's had 2 practices with him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they
Yeah, two
collaborated.
practices.
I'm sure they collaborated on a bunch of
Oh
drills
yeah,
and
well, you know
shorts
what
and
he said?
tees.
They spent 15 minutes after each practice
Oh,
running
good.
routes. So I'm like, wow, you really put in the overtime, didn't you?
Well, I bet you on Denver's off days, Peyton Manning don't let the receivers go nowhere. They still work out private workouts.
Well, who's to
And
say
there
the
you
same?
have it from our NFL scout,
Our
the
NFL
inside
scout,
scoop.
who hasn't-
He'll get sick of Peyton.
I can't wait till you go see you won't go to a training camp. They're
He
not
hasn't
paying you.
hit
He's
or
not
been
going.
hit in decades, folks. And he could do 30 reps of 225 pounds. Wink, wink.
I heard there's no wink, wink. Wait till Teresa comes
All
back.
natural, all natural, and I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like. So tell me, man. Like, don't tell me.
Somehow we.
Drink a soft drink, kind of a
Yeah, it was good.
carbonated drink.
Wink, wink was
It
a nice
gives you
drink.
wings.
Wink, wink was a nice drink years
I was in the
ago.
weight room today and had an off day.
I'm telling you, when you're
Well,
pumping that
everything
iron,
felt
when you're
heavy
pumping that iron that says acne on the side that the Roadrunner used to blow bombs up with and push rocks over the cliff, when it says acne on the side,
You say acne or acme?
acne.
Okay.
It's definitely.
Because I thought you were
it's
saying he's on
definitely foam.
steroids with acne.
He might. I've never seen it. His shirt probably it might have back acne.
No,
I'm not
he's
sure.
PED free. Jim, I believe. I
Well,
believe.
Seeing
Well, I
is
know-
believing.
I know
I've
there's
been to the mountain.
I'm not going to comment on this, but
Okay.
if it's
How about
not-
that?
if
How
it's
about a
not-
little bit of that?
If it's not out already, a very new Steeler nose guard from San Diego has a lawsuit following him
Yes, he
in
does.
Pittsburgh. So, ladies,
It's already out.
Ladies, stay away.
Hey, you know what?
It's already out, Smoking Jim.
Jim, I don't know. I didn't
Can
know
you
it was
please
possible
elaborate more on
to
that?
sue somebody for getting an STD.
Herpes.
Can somebody like, let's can we
It's not a
elaborate?
hairpiece. He got herpes.
Can we elaborate on who's the defensive end?
You know he's a
Nose
nose
guard.
tackle.
Who's the nose tackle?
Cam Thomas.
He's a Steeler.
Yeah, we picked him up as a free agent.
You was
signing
talking
from
to him
San
in
Diego.
Homestead.
No, he wasn't. That was Cam Hayward.
He didn't know it.
He could
I'm
tell.
talking to Cam Hayward. I
He
know
could
when
tell.
I
We
watched-
interviewed him. Even you remember that, Smoking Jim, 2 years
His father
ago.
was one of my favorite football players.
Yeah,
He was a
Ironhead.
good basketball
You know where
player.
Ironhead lived when he was in
Where?
lived in Monroeville.
Go ahead.
Doesn't everybody at one time or another?
That's good.
He
And they always
he and
leave.
Roger Kingdom, right?
They
Yeah,
always,
Roger King
they always
was
move on
a-
up like the Jeffersons.
I just want to know why they don't stay.
Churchill.
What'd you say?
Why don't they stay?
There's Murraysville. There's Churchill. There's greener pastures
Man,
on
he
the other
moved to
side.
Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Girls
Penn
got the
Hills?
big butts there in Atlanta.
And that's a subject for Pittsburgh Sportsline After Hours. If he's not escorting John home, who's on the camera tonight, enjoying the show here. He told me he actually listens to what we say, so I'm actually enthused about
Then
that.
you should definitely come away with a smarter man about things on your way out.
All right, Sip Sports Bar. We had a lot of great guests. Smoking Jim finally got Stephanie Perry back on the show. It took 2 weeks. She has an event coming up with Jim Duffy, All Shades of Beauty. I met Micah. She's in charge of this event that's happening there. I don't think I have any information on it, though. She didn't leave
That's good publicity.
anything with me. But that's on August 9th. It seems like everything's on August 9th.
Everything.
We're heading out, Zach Brenner and the Brenner boys. We're actually going to go see Rod Sulka. So we'll see him in Brooklyn at the Barclay Center. So we got that happening. And at Sips last night, we had Robert Joseph of Gladiators of the Cage. Somehow Smoking Jim heard we weren't going to be there, and he goes, "Hey, Talking Machine, can I get a media pass?"
He hooked me up.
Right with Robert Joseph, he said, "The way I treat Al and the rest of them, you got the same treatment, so you got to come into
Wait till Robert Joseph sees Jim's seat empty when the biggest 3 fights come up.
Well, we won't talk about that. Speaking of big fights, Mark Cherico, the pride of Bloomfield, finally made our show. What a great interview. When we get that posted up, just a great interview by a great guy, and you get some insights on what he's thinking and where he's headed to with this, and just looking maybe at UFC. And then we had one of our good friends here, Greg Rudolph, the Lumberjack. The Lumberjack took time out from his busy schedule, come in, did a great interview. Then he stayed after the show, Smoking Jim. He had a steak that was about this thick.
Are you serious?
And he had broccoli. And I usually don't like to talk about people's eating habits, especially the best meatball hoagie in 2 weeks. But he crushed that. I said, "Did you drop that on the floor?" He goes, "No, I was hungry." It was gone in less than a minute.
That guy's put together.
That he is. And he's looking at, I'm allowed to announce it, we talked about it last night. He's looking at boxing, maybe at an August 9th event at our good friends, the Abadanzas, out at the Ivy Lounge with Ted Mercanja. They're having fighting. So everything's on August 9th. Smoking Jim will probably be announcing it with models and everything else. Oh, no, he'll be at Stage AE. He outsmarted
He
himself.
won't know where to go. He might not show up to none of it.
Well, we'll see what happens. But we had a lot of great things there, other great guests. We even had a lady, which you won't believe this. She was from Pittsburgh originally, and I get a little message. Oh, where's that at? Somewhere in here. I get a message that, here, check this out, Chip. You can look at it. She was at Hines Ward's wedding
Wow.
at Jerry Jones's $1 billion stadium. And she was telling us all about that, and it was just fun. She knew the new wife
No, it
of...
was at Heinz Field.
No.
Really?
Yeah, you missed the interview.
Wow.
He got married in Cowboy Stadium.
I thought he
Yeah,
got married
I
at
thought
Heinz
that's what she
Field.
said. She went to.
Screw
It was in
Heinz
Texas.
Oh,
It was in
Screw Heinz
Texas.
Ward.
oh my.
That's
Don't
what
come
she
back
said.
86.
You sure?
Yeah, she said it. They're from in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, but she came here for the wedding.
I don't know. She
That
didn't
was
say
at
it was at
Heinz
Heinz
Field.
Field.
Yeah,
Then how did
yeah.
it cost $1 million?
Huh?
She said it cost $1 million.
To come here.
No, for Heinz Ward's wedding.
No, he got married at Heinz
Did he?
Field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I stand corrected there.
was
I
gonna
couldn't
say-
hear her talking into the mic
I
there.
couldn't believe it. If I would have never liked Heinz Ward ever again. Wink, wink.
I don't.
Well,
He doesn't like one of the hardest working Steelers.
check out the meatball hoagies. They were
Jeez.
great. The wings on Thursday night. Don Campiti. I didn't bet the
How many
adios.
passes did Hamlin
Thanks
drop?
again. I didn't see you at the fight, so maybe we'll see you next time when we have those fights out there. Check the entertainment, and we'll see you next week. Take care, and we're going to go to a couple of my favorite segments here. We'll see if my man's ready down there.
I'm ready.
I'm waiting while your models are texting in with you, checking in, and your BFF and all that other
I'm
stuff.
Googling Heinz Ward's wedding married
Yeah.
at Heinz Field.
Okay, I stand corrected because she kept saying Houston, Texas.
Yeah, that's where she lives.
I know, but she kept telling me that. I go, when he got married, and his wife's from there.
Well, she was heating up sitting next to you, brother.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she was melting.
Let's have some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, brother, this fiction and fact, we're going all the way back to
Last week.
Saturday night, man.
I knew
the
it was-
event was so impressive that it had to slip up in my top 300 of fiction and facts with Smoking Jim's Almanac. Madness at the Meadows. You already said it. Amy Hayes, the first female ring announcer in the country. Alexis Pierce, first female judge in the state of Pennsylvania history.
I don't trust you guys. You can look at it.
Frank Luca, Crown Promotion, been in the business over 50 years. The Mule, Chris Moeller, 93.7 The Fan. I know Zach is clapping away. And my main man, Al Levine, the talking machine, was all there. And then you had, at a sold-out outdoor event, outdoor crowd, then you had Lightning Rod Sulka. Who brought the lightning? We was delayed an hour and 20 minutes. And I tell you what, Al and Amy and Frank and Chris all went to the white party and left me out in the hallway for an hour and 20 minutes. I couldn't find them little seats. I
gotta revisit that one.
I was blacklisted, but they showed back out in unity when it was time. But
This will be revisited instantly.
but I tell you what, it was a great night, man. We had a great time. Al Levine even showed, he's a man that's been at the Meadows for a long time, owned horses, and something you never will see ever at any other event. And I can't wait to get back to the Meadows and do this event again. The owner of the Meadows was drying off cheers for the customers, and that's how you do business. Shout out to Amani Everhart. He won his fight 2-round knockout, which I predicted. You had the Karpinski brothers.
Carpensy.
Huh?
Carpensy.
He pronounced it wrong all the time. I don't correct him. They're going to be on the show.
And
Carpensi.
they'll be
Yeah.
Two out of the three fought. They looked pretty good. And I tell you what, El, it was a great night outdoors. The rain, Lightning Rod Salka allowed the rain and everything to stay away until right after the final belt. And then here come the lightning and the rain again. So it was a great time. It was fun. And I can't wait to see the results on Fox 50.
We'll have to see what they chopped up, my friend.
Yeah.
And as far as the fiction part of this, that was no fact about the blacklist. Smoking Jim actually would have found where the VIP party was, but he kept walking. He walked right by it.
Batman is leaving the
Then what you missed is when lightning, the real lightning hit, they were chasing us away. We wouldn't leave because we were under a tent because the ring was covered. And they kept saying, and our new friend Chris is like, I think they're talking to us. So I said, let's just stay here a few more minutes. You know me, a little bit of trouble. So we stayed, and they go, you must leave the arena and go to the Meadows, go inside there. So we went in, we wandered around. Somebody went up
Any free play?
No, how about this? Chris Muller's in a suit, right? Well, he took the tie off because he said, I got to be with the two best dressed guys. I got to take the tie off and loosen up. So he's walking around. A lady comes up to him, sir, can you help me? And I go, oh, she hit a big jackpot. You're going to pay her out. He goes, ma'am, I don't work here. So that was one of the highlights you missed. So we were walking around for a while, going through the casino. And when we come back, it was still raining. And they still delayed it. But it was a great event.
Let's hear a little bit more about this great call on this Bergman fight. Can we get some insight on this Bergman fight if we're talking
No,
about
we
this
can't.
great
This
night
is
of
the
madness?
teaser. Fox 53 at midnight because we have the Meadows Casino watching it. Kevin Brogan actually is going to count how many times we mentioned Madness at the Meadows Casino. And it was a great boxing venue. Actually, they carved it out in the one parking lot, which they didn't have this area before. And it's a nice spot that's secluded from the track and everything. It's actually like you're away from the track, only at the casino. The ring was nice. A couple friends of ours were putting it together there, John and his crew. So, I mean, it's really a nice place.
You and
they're
Chris
gonna have
Moeller left me in the dust as far as mentioning that.
with what?
Madness at the Meadows or whatever.
Well, you were supposed to be in there.
Well, you know, Jim Frazier, you know, he's a little punchy. He leaves stuff out a lot, you know?
Well, he was the play-by-play guy, and I explained to them I'm the color guy, so they were laughing at that stuff. So I don't know what happened. Frank Luca was just
I look
fantastic.
forward to folks watching this broadcast at midnight on Saturday. I will stay up. I guarantee it.
Now, is that Saturday or Friday? Because Friday is actually Saturday
Okay, now
at midnight.
I know that, but they said August 2nd, so that
which is the same
which would be
thing?
the third.
Huh?
Which would be the third if they're talking Saturday night after that. They're not talking.
Are they talking midnight Friday?
Well,
night,
here's what to
midnight?
do. Since you never sleep, give me a text on Friday night, and then on Saturday
I'm
night.
sure Levine will shoot it out there, man. Hey,
confused.
we're on the tube.
I'm
Don't
confused,
confuse
Jim.
Jim Frazier.
Well, we try not to ask too many questions there.
Jesus.
And that's it for Fiction and Fact. And we covered some of that fiction. And he was invited to everything. And at the end, Frank Luca goes, "Where's Smoking Jim at?"
Well, that's better than asking who is Jim Frazier.
Yeah.
Beep, beep.
So you're coming up, Frank. You're coming up, man.
coming up.
You're on the come up. Let's go over to
Chip's trivia time has been waiting patiently. And Chip, take it away.
Well, thank you, Alan. And I guess this is not going to be the only baseball we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh, no.
There's lots of goings on as far as
Good
Pirates,
baseball.
Yeah, but we get to some baseball trivia. July 23rd was an important day in baseball history. Lou Gehrig hit the first of his record 23 grand slams for his career. That's a record that still stands. July 28th, 1993, Ken Griffey Jr. tied a record that was set originally by a Pittsburgh Pirate, Dale Long, and matched by Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly. 8 home runs in 8 consecutive games. Ken Griffey Jr. became the third man in Major League history to achieve that feat. This is a game that I believe my friend Al was at, and I know for a fact that I was at back on July 23rd, 1974.
Roberto Clemente hitting his 3,000
No,
hit?
Roberto Clemente
Still
was
not.
already deceased at that point. But on a write-in vote, Steve Garvey got written in as the first baseman for the All-Star game that was played here in Pittsburgh. And Steve Garvey, as a write-in candidate, got a single and a double, and he led the new National League to a victory over the American League in the All-Star game played right here in Pittsburgh. I was a witness to that
I was a
event.
witness
You
to
were
it.
there?
I was there, yes, sir.
And
I
for
brought the
the
ticket
not-
in a couple of years
Chip,
ago.
for the 99th time, we were both there. We didn't know each other at the time. I
Jim
was
Frazier
behind.
only goes to Homestead Gray's games, folks, and the Crawfords. If it's not a Crawford or a Gray, sorry, Chip.
Okay, next in the year of the pitcher, 1968.
Ooh.
This was the year when Bob Gibson set a National League mark for the lowest ERA for a season at 1.15. It was also the year that Major League Baseball lowered the pitcher's mound to give the pitchers less of an advantage. But a pitcher named Hoyt Wilhelm broke a record that was set by Cy Young himself by appearing in his 907th baseball game. Hoyt Wilhelm finished his career as a pitcher for the Chicago White Sox with over 1,070 career appearances as a pitcher in Major League Baseball games. That's a pretty impressive feat because I don't think you could take
That won't happen.
No, there's decades worth of people
A
that never did that.
knuckleballer, too.
July the 24th, 1983. This was a year before you were born, Zach. Another famous event happened in Major
wait.
League Baseball. And anybody remembers the George Brett Pine Tar
Yes, I
incident?
do.
Ooh.
That was when that incident happened. And to give you a quick rundown of what happened, George Brett gets up at bat, hits a home run. And after he crosses home plate, Billy Martin calls the ump over. And according to baseball rules, you're not allowed to have pine tar any further up the bat than the width of the plate. And he had pine tar up about that much further than where it should be,
Really?
which most batters did. And Billy Martin kept that card in his back pocket and waited for a time when he needed it. And he pulled that out, and which caused a
Wow, I
huge
never knew
ruckus
that
and a
rule.
riot.
I never knew
And the
that
game was
Yeah.
the game they called the game. They took off the home run. They called the game a tie, and they replayed the end of the game at a later date. But it was a huge controversy.
Wow.
George Brett came storming out of the dugout. I thought he was going to kill Billy Martin. That was back when baseball was fun.
Yeah, a lot more fun.
Before I was born, of course.
A lot more
Yeah.
fun.
After you were born, Zach.
That takes me back to the days of the disco demolition night at the Chicago
Yeah.
White Sox
But
had.
can I ask you this, guys?
Yes.
The baseball crew to the right of Pittsburgh Sportsline.
Hold it, he's in the baseball now.
No, he's not. Come on, being on a
Wink.
fan. Wink, wink.
Oh, my eyes.
Serious question though, Chip. The Pine Tar being that much more up the bat, did it really make a benefit to George Brett? Because it seems to me like a pitcher putting something on the ball is more of an advantage than anything, unless the bat is corked like Sammy Sosa
And
wink,
others.
wink,
Well,
and
you know,
others. But
and here would be the advantage of doing it. I think you would get a better. The bat's a polished thing, and the ball's round and the bat's round. So you really have to hit it squarely to hit it a long distance. If you had something tacky on the bat, it might give you the ability to get a hold of the ball a little bit better. I mean, everybody's always trying to get a little bit of an advantage, and
They're trying to
technically,
get a
probably-
bigger sweet spot, is what they were trying to get.
Probably it didn't make any difference really, but because it
Of
was
the
a
rules.
rule, and and the thing was, he had seen that and known that it had been a. He waited for just the right time to bring that to the ump's attention. He waited until he got a home run and
Sure.
it got nullified. It didn't matter if he struck out in the first inning and he did it because he's not gaining any.
he
advantage
struck out.
there.
Yeah.
But okay, 1961, very famous year in baseball history. Roger Maris, that was the year that he broke Babe Ruth's home run record. And Roger Maris was vilified by baseball fans for breaking Babe Ruth's
hallowed record,
because
yeah.
it was a hallowed record. But on July the 25th, 1961, Roger Maris hit 4 home runs in one day. He hit 2 home runs in the first half of a doubleheader, 2 home runs in the second half of the doubleheader. That gave him 40 home runs for the year, and he would get another 21 home runs between then and the end of the season to break the Babe's record. Couple more here. One that Alan had posted, Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. Honus Wagner on July the 29th, 1915, became the oldest player in baseball history to hit a grand slam. He was 41 years old at the time, and he hit an inside the park grand slam home run. And he held that record from 1915 until 1981. Tony Perez, who became famous as a member of the Big Red Machine of the mid-'70s, back-to-back world champions, hit one day shy of his 43rd birthday. So that record stood for 65 years. 66 years. That's
Heck,
pretty amazing feat. And then, everybody's pretty aware of the trials and tribulations of our dear third baseman, Pedro Alvarez. And he's leading the league in errors. And that got me, I stumbled across something about one of the greatest third basemen of all time. One of the greatest third basemen of all time was Brooks Robinson. And Brooks Robinson won 16 Gold Gloves. Well, on July the 28th, 1971, Brooks Robinson managed to get 3 errors in 1 inning.
Wow.
Okay? 3 errors in 1 inning, and he didn't make 3 errors in a season.
Right.
And Brooks Robinson was so good at what he did that he made 3 errors in 1 inning, and he still ended up being the hero of the game because he hit a home run in the bottom of the 9th inning to win the game against the Oakland A's, I believe. And the thing that made me think about that, 1971 was a great year. It's one of the greatest years of my life because I was playing baseball at the time. I was 11 years old, and I was a huge Pittsburgh Pirates fan. That also happened to be the year that the Pirates beat the Orioles in 7 games. Roberto Clemente, on a national stage, became World Series MVP and put the crowning jewel in his career that year. Only eclipsed by his 3,000th hit on the last day of the 1972 season. But that's my trivia for this week.
Some good trivia there.
Well, didn't Pedro Alvarez get a Golden Glove?
No. Pedro Alvarez got a Silver Slugger Award last year for
That's for
I
hitting.
thought a couple years ago he got a Golden
no.
Glove.
He's never had a Gold Glove. Even last year. See, last year he had 28 errors over the course of the year, which were the most for any third baseman in the major leagues. But the only thing that's overshadowed by is the fact that he had 36 home runs and 100 RBIs. And if you're going to have 28 errors and you're going to 36 knocks and get 100 RBIs. I could live with the errors. The problems he's having this year is he's not hitting the ball out like he did in the past, and he's
Throwing
got
even more errors.
He's got more errors than any other player in Major League Baseball at any position.
How about let's talk about real quick. I know we might be segueing into baseball, probably most likely.
We'll do Z time, then we'll segue. But yeah,
Oh,
go
let's
ahead.
okay.
You want to segue now, and then we'll go to Z time again at the end?
Let's do that because I just
We're
want to give
fired
a
up
shout
with
out.
baseball.
I want to give a shout out to Jay Hay. When I saw him beat out that when they tossed the ball back and forth
That
rundown.
rundown.
When he beat out that rundown, man, I'll tell you what, man. I was just like, man, maybe there is a little bit of hope for baseball when I was watching that game because that just made
And
me
that was
so-
a legal one, unlike the other one, which I'll tell you, he was out of the baselines
was
and
out
all
of the-
normal.
And let
This
me
one
tell
was perfect.
And his name's being changed. He's no longer going to be Jay Hay. We're going to call him Houdini. Because I tell you what, he pulled a magic act. That's the second time he did that this year. And to be honest with you, he pulled that off in spring training. And he almost got away with it then, but somebody tagged him out. And then against the Yankees, when we played in the Bronx, he got into a rundown again, and they just nipped the back of his heel with the glove, but he almost pulled that thing off 3 times. Some people haven't done that one time. They've maybe done it one time in their career. He's done it twice in one season, almost 3 times.
Been a running back.
You got to be able to do 30 reps at 225 pounds. To be
Well, here's what I advise him. Try to hold on to the base when you're going to second base.
Hey,
it'll work a couple times, but I hate to see when we're in the playoffs when you overrun the bases. And I'm serious on that. I enjoyed the excitement, and I like this last play.
When they're what?
Overrunning the bases.
What? I thought you mentioned something about the postseason or something.
Yeah, when they make the playoffs, because there's 2 wild card teams this
well,
year.
and just to let you know, Jim,
Your
Pirates are
heavy
2
money's
games,
done.
the Pirates are 2 games out of first place in the Central Division.
Yeah, great.
And things look
Heavy.
things look very good for the Pirates moving forward. Now tonight we've got Francisco Liriano pitching against Tim Hudson. Tim Hudson's got the most wins in the National League.
That ain't nothing.
Since Frankie Liriano came back off the injured list, he's pitched 3 games. His record is 1-1, and his ERA is 2.25. That's the Frank Liriano that we saw last year.
And his velocity's up, too.
That's the Liriano that we need to see moving forward. And another good note for the Pirates, last night Garrett Cole pitched a rehab start in Indianapolis, pitched 5 innings through 81 pitches, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, no runs, and he hit 99 miles an hour on the gun with his fastball. Now, before he went on the injured list, he was hitting 95, 96. He's getting his velocity back. Now, they'll have him pitch another rehab start
He needs to get
Saturday.
100 pitches or so in this time
That's
to see
what
if
they
he
want
can
to
be
do.
durable.
Saturday night, they're going to have him pitch again, and they'll determine then when he's going to come back up. But for the Pirates to really have a solid chance at the division, and we are right in the midst of a dependent race right now. We need Liriano to pitch the way he's been pitching. We need Garrett Cole to come back and pitch like he pitched last September and October. And I like our chances. Now, right now, the big talk is, are we going to make a trade? Who are we going to give up? Who are we going to go after? There's a lot of rumors swirling around.
Peavy's off the list
There's
because he went to
A.J. Burnett. They said, but the stumbling block with him is the money. Because now here's what the problem with the Phillies are. They paid all this money to these players. Now they can't get rid of them because they're going to have to assume most of the contracts for anybody to be interested in taking them.
Exactly.
Marlon Byrd's been mentioned, but you bring in Marlon Byrd, but where are you going to play Marlon Byrd? Marlon Byrd is not a part-time player. He's a starter. So who do you sit down?
Jay Hay.
No,
I'm kidding.
John Lester, a pitcher from the Red Sox.
Yeah.
He's been mentioned. He's a rental player. David Price, who's one of the top left-handers in the American League. He's been mentioned, but I don't think he's going to be available anymore
I don't think
because
Price.
here's what's happened with Tampa Bay. Since July the 12th, Tampa Bay, its record is 25-12. Best record.
I think they're up to
Major League
27-12.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Best record in baseball. They have played their way into contention for a wild card spot. So no longer are they sellers. They may decide to keep him because they've got a chance to make the playoffs where
That's going to happen.
a month
right.
and a half ago, so he's not going to be available. Lester would be a 2-month rental. What do you want to give up for him? Here's what Lester did. He turned down a 4-year extension from the Red Sox for $70 million, and he said it was an insult. To do the math, that's $17.5 million a year. I wish I could get insulted like
Yeah,
that.
but here's the while you're on a roll. My thinking with the players coming along, we do need a pitcher. I mean, we got too many things that are iffy. Now, from all the scouts that I've heard over the years and things, you don't want to throw money away. But if you can get a rental player that maybe wins you an extra 7 games, 8 games, I'll take that. I'll give somebody away on the farm
Let's give away
team.
some draft picks.
Well,
'Cause
no,
you never know what
forget
those
the
draft
draft.
picks are gonna
You're not
pan
going to
out
get
to
it
be.
for a guy like him. And you're only going to have him for a couple months. You're not going to pay all that big salary. My thing is, so what if you gave away a couple of these prospects? This is the year you have a chance. I hate to say it, but I drank the Kool-Aid and I believe it. Their hitting is coming along. The defense is pretty good, except for our corner, and we take him out at the end, which
Right.
I give him credit. If you can get that difference where you got 92 to 96 wins, and that's what I think a guy, if you could bring him in to do that, because that's where we need it. We might get 88, but if you can get up to that 96 mark, then you're going to get a nice. The heavy money will be gone, my friend. Whatever you did there, but that's what my thought is.
And everything you're saying, I absolutely have to agree with. But here's the thing. This is the way I'm looking at things with the Pirates. If they make a move, I know they're going to make a move that's going to be in the best interest of now and in the future. Okay.
Well,
And if
Hunting
they
may
make
come
a-
out about
and,
this.
and if they make a move, so be it. I mean, one of the things that I think is important on a team is the chemistry. I think this team has great chemistry right now. Even if they decide not to make a move, I do believe that this team is positioned to win now.
Right.
There are some things on this team. I mean, Pedro Alvarez, for all of his failures this year, there's one thing about Pedro Alvarez that would make me keep him in the lineup. Here's a guy that can put this team on his back, and he can hit 10 or 15 home runs in a month
Right.
and carry this team. He could be more
It's
of an
just
asset than
when
he is going to be.
will this happen?
Exactly,
That's all.
exactly. We know what he can do, and right now he's mentally messed up because I think his mishaps in the field, he's carrying those into the batter's box. And I think they got to figure out, and they're working with him.
He's Mr. October.
Well, you know what? You got to get to October.
We don't
before
play
you can
enough
be
games
Mr.
in October, my friend.
Mr. October was Reggie Jackson.
But
Yeah.
And even I know that.
Another
He
thing.
does just learn baseball.
Another thing is, what kind of
He was a
Starling
brother.
Marte are we going to get back after getting beat?
The Yankees.
Starling
He was a
Marte
brother.
has been hot and cold this year.
No, that's a good point.
And I mean, if he can be the Starling Marte that he's been for us in the past, it's going to do nothing but make the team stronger. So, I mean, we do have some pieces. They do need to perform. But, I mean, either way they end up going, I think this is a year that we can win it.
Wow.
Who can?
And remember,
Everybody can.
back at spring training, I said that the Pirates, I bet 90 wins and we'd win the Central Division. We'll see what happens here in the next 2 months.
Thank goodness for Jay Hay and Greg Blanca.
And Smoking Jim is now becoming sarcastic. He
He
come
does have a
out.
wit
He
about
had
him
the
now.
under.
Ever since he
He
got
had
out of
the under.
hospital, he's had a certain. He came back even stronger than ever.
Yeah, but
man.
here's the
I don't know
problem.
about his biceps.
Let me tell
Wink,
you
wink.
about the under
Or
on
his calves.
84. Las Vegas is going,
Hey,
come on.
he's trying
Come
to get,
back here.
He's trying to get
Do
my
you want to
goat.
double up? They're asking for double heavy money because he said 84.
He's trying to get my goat. And I gave
He's gonna be
his.
ducking macaroni Tony.
Yeah, we
No,
got,
no, this is Vegas.
We got that new
Macaroni
lightning fast
Tony's.
outside linebacker, Jarvis Jones.
Oh, speaking of
Did he even
Steelers.
show up?
Hey, and I
Did he even
saw
show
him.
up?
Speaking
I
of
saw him.
Steelers, Zach Brenner, what do you got?
Yeah, I did. I saw Jarvis Jones down on the south side.
I heard you were chasing him and you caught him. Without your truck.
No, he's faster than Smoking Jim likes to give him credit for because he's over pursuing.
Where was he going?
For those of you physics majors that go to Cal U, over pursuing.
I just met a
that
couple
you're
Cal U.
faster and you're over pursuing the play. So you're going too fast and you're going by the play because you're over pursuing the play. So we got a young version of Lawrence Timmons because I remember a lot of people were down on LT and they weren't even happy about us drafting Lawrence Timmons when we drafted him from Florida State because they were like, because we've had some failures at the linebacker position in some of these
Really?
drafts. Yeah, but I'm not
Did you
giving
give him
up
a
on
D?
Jarvis. I'm not giving up on Jarvis Jones at all because I still believe that he has the speed and the strength to do what he needs to do. Even though Smoking Jim disputes it, I'm pretty sure Jarvis Jones could do more 225 than Jim Frazier can. But I mean, that's just.
When's this contest happening?
That's just.
I want to
me.
promote this fundraiser. We'll do it for some event here.
But I guess we're gonna segue into Z time.
It's right now.
All right.
You already used up a minute
I want
of
to
it.
give a shout out to PelgerLaw.com, Attorney Pelger, 412-461-1900.
You got the Z up.
If you
Zach.
ever get jammed up by a woman version of a domestic where a woman goes crazy on you, the opposite of Ray Rice. I don't know if any of these gentlemen have ever experienced that, but
Yes,
it can
I
go
have.
bad for you in a Commonwealth state. Wink, wink. But that's neither here nor there. I'm sorry for Jason Bergman losing down there at the Meadows. Sometimes these kind of things have a way of working themselves out. You'll go train harder, you'll bounce back, you'll get back in there and you'll get back up, and I wish you nothing but the best, champ. I'm excited to go to Brooklyn on August 9th. I've never been to New York City. I almost lost my aunt in the World Trade Centers on September 11th in Tower B. So I'm just as pumped as Al Levine and my brother and Rod and everybody else, and excited to get to Brooklyn. I'm also looking forward to on August 8th, Sammy Vasquez fights and Monty Clay down at the Console Energy Center. It's going to be the first boxing match at Console ever. So
Yeah.
congratulations to Sammy. You're about to fight a step up. So I wish you nothing but the best.
And
looking
Iron
for-
Mike Tyson will be in.
Hey,
He's
I-
giving tickets away. Did you see I posted that on Pittsburgh Sports Line?
Really?
Yeah, smoking. You're already there with the new Courier post.
Won't anybody buy him?
Yeah, no. No, well, they're only $60 a ticket for general admission. But
Really?
that's all. You think that's a lot?
Yeah.
So do a lot of people.
Jeez.
All right, we'll see what happens there. Z Time, what else?
Well, what
You
else?
did some advertisements and stuff like that and promotions. So
Well,
what's in the Z world?
Also, we got a little NASCAR going on. Currently, my driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. is second in points. He's having a strong showing in 2014, as we have 6 races left till the chase for the Cup.
Do you think that's because you went down to Daytona to see him?
I do believe that played a high role in it,
2.5.
because we've been on a roll ever since that.
Who kissed the bricks at the in Indianapolis?
Jeff
LeBlanc.
Gordon kissed the bricks, but Jeff Gordon's also an Indy boy from Indianapolis
Won
who
the inaugural
idolized
race there.
who idolized that track, and became a master of it. So there's guys, Jimmy
5
Johnson
times.
mastered the North Carolina Charlotte Motor Speedway. There's guys, Dale Earnhardt mastered Bristol, Daytona, Talladega. So many, there's these guys that certain places, when they take that car off the truck, that magic's gonna happen, because they know that.
Well, they got a
racetrack.
good team,
Like
too.
when you're cutting that grass in the dark with your headlights, that yard like the back of your hand.
I know
That's what some of these guys do, when it comes to racing. But I'll be in Dover in September. I'm going to go to my second race, so hopefully Dale
Wow.
Jr.
Dover, Delaware, is that where it's at?
Yep, hopefully Dale Jr. Brings it on that particular thing. But I'm just looking forward to getting on vacation. And I want to make one more announcement, folks. The Beard is back, and you can catch me in a ring near you in this fall. Trained by J.B. Reagan.
Wow, what a shocker. Well, good luck, Zach Brenner. Smoking Jim, anything left on your weekend schedule, or where you're going to be out and about that you can talk about?
Well, I just looked it up. Jarvis Jones at the Combine did 20 reps at 225 pounds. So.
Oh, he didn't beat Smoking Jim.
Man,
He has the unverified,
I'm gonna do
unsanctioned.
an ESPN. Come on,
Unsanctioned.
man. Come on.
Wait,
man.
he's unsanctioned yet, unverified, no documentation.
Yep, no
But I
proof.
got faith in my man.
I'm not saying I don't have faith. I got the most faith. I got huge faith in the Lord and Savior. But that doesn't mean anything.
He can
possible.
do it.
Finish up with running down.
All right,
That's it.
Zach. Thank you. Chip, anything else
I
happening?
got the next homestand the Pirates are going to have. I will be at 5 baseball games in 6 days.
Wow.
Must be a double header.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday. I'll be there to watch the Pirates play the Tigers.
Wow, well, that sounds like good stuff. Thanks, John, the Tiger Kiger on the cameras. Devin Shea's out here keeping the control room running nice and smooth. We're running out of time. The clock's ticking. Thanks for everybody watching us. We appreciate all the great feedback. Thanks for everybody at the Meadows. Gaming and Casino out there for saying hi to us. We had people coming up that knew Smoking Jim for years, and me, they just found out about me. So thanks a lot, Smoking Jim. Thanks to everybody that helped promote us with that. Watch that at midnight, whenever it is. You'll see it out there. Smoking Jim brought up a technicality. Why didn't he ask it that night when they told us? It could be Friday when it turns into midnight.
That's a
It
brother
could be
move.
Saturday when it turns into midnight. That's it,
Yeah, I saw the
folks.
tough questions.
I'm done with this show. I think I ran over. Have a nice day.